almost every now and then, 5 million data of Nigerians have been collected. High net worth individual information are now sitting with the FRS. The taxman knows who you are, So that's the era that we are. So where does this leave us? I think we must realize that time for escape is up. It's up. It's time to do the right thing. Understand that times have changed, and we must stress that with our clients. Falsifying and hiding information is not tax planning. Understating revenue is not tax planning. If you want to tax plan, go and pick a copy of the NIPC and FIRS Compendium of Investment and Incentives and look for what to do to optimize your tax position. With the new collaborations around the world, secrecy and hiding doesn't look like something that will that can continue to go undetected.
We do have a lot of information on individual personal assets, corporate assets, and we're in the process of even getting more, both within Nigeria and outside Nigeria.
There was significant concerns and doubts at the initial stage of the VAT scheme. People are asking whether it will work, whether people that have been defaulting all these years will suddenly come out of the hiding. But I'm very happy that when it was announced that the FIS has already raked in about 18 billion naira in just 4 months. I mean, it's a good point to show that the chairman and his team are really hardworking. So kudos to them.
Sound bites from the one-day training workshop organized for tax professionals engaged in advising clients participating in VATs, Voluntary Assets and Income Declaration Scheme. Call them tax physicians if you like. And as you can see, VATs is still trending. VATs is still on the front burner as far as taxation in Nigeria is concerned, and it will continue to be so up to the end of the grace period on March 31st, 2018. The training workshop, organized by the Federal Ministry of Finance, took place in Abuja on Thursday, the 9th of November. To underscore the importance of that training workshop and the importance of VATs in tax administration in Nigeria at the moment, the executive chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Mr. Babatunde Fowler, had to cut short his trip to Accra, Ghana, for the 2017 conference of the Commonwealth Association of Tax Administrators, CATA, which was taking place that week in Accra, precisely from the 6th to the 10th of November. And was it worth his while? Oh boy, you need to see the hall. The hall was brimming with tax consultants, with many jostling for seats. Before we proceed, what else is trending? We are sure that by now you are familiar with the Panama Papers. Well, new ones are in town. Paradise Papers, they are called. Tax paradise, tax haven. Paradise Papers, like the Panama Papers before them, are about how the super rich hide their wealth using tax planning schemes. Well, as you saw in the trailers at the beginning of the program, and as you will presently see in the course of today's episode, with data mining, with data gathering at home and abroad, and with automatic exchange of information, very soon there will be no hiding place for tax dodgers. To kickstart today's episode, let us take some time to give you a brief summary of what VATs is all about. The Voluntary Assets and Income Declaration Scheme, VATs for short, is an opportunity for taxpayers to voluntarily regularize their tax status relating to previous tax periods. In exchange for fully and honestly declaring previously undisclosed asset and income, taxpayers will benefit from forgiveness of interest, forgiveness of penalties, immunity from criminal prosecution for tax offenses, freedom from tax investigation, and freedom from tax audit. In addition, all and every information supplied by the taxpayer will be treated with the utmost confidentiality. The icing on the cake is that established tax liabilities arising from filing under VATs can be paid over a period of 3 years. All taxes, federal and state, are covered under VATs. Individuals and corporate organizations are also covered under VATs, and the grace period is from July 1st, 2017 to March 31, 2018, 9 months. For more information, visit the VATs website. You can also download and print the VATs forms from the website. To give legal teeth to VATs, Voluntary Assets and Income Declaration Scheme, then Acting President Professor Yemi Osinbajo on June 29, 2017 signed Executive Order 004 of 2017. The scheme provides for a 9-month period commencing from the 1st of July 2017 for taxpayers who are in default of their tax liabilities to declare their assets and income from sources within and outside Nigeria relating to the preceding 6 years of assessment. The scheme is open to and targeted at all persons and entities that are in default of their tax liabilities in any way whatsoever, including those who earn an income or own assets but are yet to register with the relevant tax authorities. Registered taxpayers who have additional disclosures to make or need to amend prior disclosures and or are registered but have not been filing returns, have not been fully declaring their taxable income and assets, have been underpaying or under-remitting, are under a process of tax audit or investigation with the relevant tax authority, and or are engaged in a tax dispute with the relevant tax authority but are prepared to settle the tax dispute out of court. The VATs Executive Order 004 of 2017 also lists the benefits of participating in the scheme, which we had earlier apprised you of. Finally, the Executive Order lists out the consequences of failure to comply and, of course, the assurances of confidentiality. Now to the story of the training workshop organized by the Federal Ministry of Finance for tax professionals, tax consultants engaged in advising clients willing to participate under VATs. 4 major papers were presented on various aspects of VATs, which were followed by a robust interactive session. The Executive Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service, welcomed participants this way.
This program is of great importance to the nation, and that's why I had to leave the Commonwealth Tax Conference in Ghana yesterday, although I'm supposed to present today. But the importance to us is the future of our country. As much as we have tried to put together a nearly perfect program, we have invited you to hear your own side also. So if you have any issues that you think need modification, please let us know. We have brought you here because for this program to work, the Nigerian people need good advisors. This is one time Nigerians are said not to want to pay for financial consultants, for tax consultants. They always believe they can do it on their own. But this is one program where I think they'll require your services, your expertise, and also your buy-in. This is a program that Nigeria needs very badly. For countries that have gone through this same experience, they were in similar economic situations. And I'm very happy to state that all those countries had had some level of success. So I don't see why Nigeria should be any different. At the same time, we do have laws on our books that could prosecute these individuals or corporations. But the question I'll ask, how many people do we want to prosecute? How many companies do we want to close? And I think as they begin to understand, and they understand that Nigeria as a country has bought into this scheme, I think we'll get very, very good success. We do need your support. We need your assistance. We need you to be ambassadors of this scheme for the benefit of today, for our children, for the future of this country.
Earlier, the representative of the president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICAN, and the president of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITN, delivered goodwill messages. Chief Cyril Ede, the president of the CITN, advocated for an extension of the VAT grace period in his own message.
Our institute strongly supports this initiative, as there is no better time other than now to take decisive steps to increase our tax base. We are suggesting that the deadline of March 2018 should be shifted maybe to September 2018, allowing the tax defaulters to remedy their tax positions.
The executive chairman FRS responded this way.
There's one comment that I will make. This program will not be extended. It is a federal government initiative. It was adopted by the House, the Senate, the House of Representatives. And I think people who have an intention to do the right thing, even if you gave them 6 months, they'll perform within 6 months. 3 months, they'll perform. But for individuals or corporate organizations who have no intention of doing the right thing, even if you give them 10 years, they will not perform within that period. So please let us try and stick to these dates. I'm quite aware that people usually wait to the last moment and you have a rush. But I think as you advise them, even if they declare, it does not mean they have to make the payment on the day that they declare. They're still given time. So let them prepare themselves. And there are certain issues that will be discussed. There are possibilities of extending the payment plan subject to the approval of the taxing authority, whether it's the federal or the state. There are also different ways that we can cushion the effect of this payment. And we have to realize and remember that you only pay tax on profits or income.
Did you hear him? No extension. No extension beyond March 31, 2018. As it is, there are enough cushions to make VAT a smooth ride. What you may ask is the legal underpinning for VAT. Professor Bella Sonny is of the University of Lagos and a member of the VAT implementation team.
Law is very central to tax practice, and VAT presents opportunities for all of us. So in Nigeria, we have adopted VAT, but basically it's tax amnesty. So who is an evader? Someone who escaped full payment. You might be paying, but your payment is not full. Someone who has managed to reduce his exposure through fraudulent means. If facts come to the fore that establish that taxpayers have used fraudulent forged documents to get certain benefits, here they can come clean. Those who fail to remit taxes collected, either in part or in whole, those who fail to discharge positive obligations imposed on them, register for tax collection. There are people who have never filed returns in their life. There are people who do not register. There are so many professionals, accountants, lawyers, who are not registered for VAT. And that's serious. In fact, I don't know any country where tax enforcement is serious and you have this rate of non-compliance among professionals. In some states, they have even regarded professionals as the informal sector, and they want to bring them under presumptive tax.
Professor Sonny went ahead to list the advantages of VAT.
So, these are the advantages of VAT. I'm just going to read through them. Reduce taxpayers' burden. If you are supposed to pay 100 plus interest and penalty 31%. 6 years ago, now you have opportunity to. Then the big benefit for government is that within a short time, it provides a window for government to generate huge amount of money. It's a meaningful way to finance budget deficit. Widen the tax base, cost evasion, increase tax awareness campaign. Basically, It's an opportunity to increase voluntary tax compliance. In line with the foregoing, the Vice President, in his capacity as the acting president, signed the Executive Order number 004. Nigeria is just waking up we are just leveraging on executive order. Everything does not require a statute. And I want to say with due respect that there are so many things the board of the FRS can do. There are so many things that the minister can do. There are so many things that the president can do that can help propel sustainable development of our tax law and also injects a dose of dynamism into it, but which at the moment they are not doing. And I hope that the opportunity, the effect of VAT will open the eyes of decision makers, policy makers to the possibilities of and the potentials of subsidiary legislation.
If you fail to come out under VAT, do you have cause to worry? What are the avenues available to the tax authorities to find you out?
I will attempt to take us through the topic on the automatic exchange of information and what the implication of all of that is for Nigeria. I think particularly that the role that the entrance of the automatic exchange of information played or is playing or is expected to play in the whole conversation around tax amnesty and tax transparency, I think it's not been adequately recognized. We needed a tax amnesty for the obvious reasons of being able to shore up our revenue, but also very importantly, we are also at a time when the adoption of the automatic exchange of information makes it critical that government provides this kind of a soft landing, if you like, for those who haven't been doing the right thing in the past and who want to take advantage of doing that. This is the era of globalization. And this is the era of cross-border trading, cross-border activities. There are individuals and nationals, and there are businesses that their tentacle extend far beyond, the jurisdiction of their home country. The challenge that presents is that as you move around the world to trade, especially with the era of technology and e-services, the ease with which you move from one country to the other or hide or move your revenue or business becomes so fast that the capacity of the tax authority in your own jurisdiction to be able to track, might be limited. That is a reality. And if you know that the chances of detection is very limited, I bet you the urge to do the right thing, may not be as high as it should be. So, because of that, transparency becomes a bit of a challenge when you know that you could escape the scrutiny of your own tax authority. So, what is the solution to that? The solution to that is to be able to have some bit of collaborative arrangements with multiple tax authorities such that if you escape country A, for as long as you land in country B, some lifestyle, some information, some record can be exchanged and thrown open such that you are effectively unable to hide effectively. So, and that's the whole essence of exchange of information. So, it's an arrangement for global cooperation. Cooperation among multi-jurisdiction with the aim of promoting transparency, with the aim of tackling evasion. What does this AEOI mean? So, it's a systematic and periodic, exchange of taxpayer information between the country of his residence and the country where that individual or that business is trading. So those information are exchanged with the aim of helping the other government to be able to have access to data with which they could compare with what is available locally and verify the level of compliance of that taxpayer. So how is it done? So the information is usually collated in the course of your normal interaction. If, for example, you go overseas, you've done all of your shopping, you've blown the money, $10,000, $5,000, and knowing Nigerians for who we are, as soon as you're coming back, you suddenly realize that I'm not a resident of this country, I'm entitled to a VAT refund. So you go queue up on the VAT refund counter to get refund of VAT. Certain critical information about you had automatically been exchanged with the government of that country. Your name, your passport number, your nationality, and all of that. If you are entitled to rental income, if you are entitled to dividends, all right, if you acquire property and you dispose of them in another country, even though you thought the money was carried in Ghana must go, permit me for the use of that word, I hope there are no Ghanaians here, all right? So you pack the money, you travel offshore, and you thought the money had escaped, but you went ahead to go buy property in UAE or in London, in Switzerland, or you go lodge there in Switzerland. There are certain information about it that's already been collated. So that information is what the government collates on a country-by-country basis, and they exchange with the country of your own residence on a periodic manner. So as we speak, like almost 100 jurisdictions have already signed the framework for this automatic exchange of information, including Nigeria. And what does that mean for Nigeria? Nigeria is going to have the capacity or the privilege or the benefit of receiving information of Nigerians and Nigerian businesses from well over 100 countries around the world. If you think, no, they can't trace me, nobody can see me, it's not about FRS going around trying to look for the data. The countries around the world gather that data and dumps it, on us. So it's that access to information at nearly no extra effort. The implication for the country is that it can then help us to be able to detect cases of non-compliance when that data is compared with what is available. It also has a deterrent effect because as soon as people realize that their information are no longer secret, the willingness to do the right thing is enhanced. And it can also help to encourage accurate reporting because if you fail to report accurately what you bought, the person you bought from is likely going to declare what is sold to you. So you are at the risk of being picked up for false reporting. The era of being able to hide, it's over.
With automatic exchange of information, there's no hiding place. The next paper that was presented was on data mining, which in a way is related to that of Mr. Olugbero. After that, another paper was presented on practical guidelines for participating in VATs. These two papers will come to you in the next episode of the program, along with the frequently asked questions session anchored by Mr. Gabriel Ogunjemilusi of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and of course, the 5-star interactive session with the audience. But before we go, this quick one from the CITN. On the same day that the training workshop took place on Thursday, November 9, the Abuja and District Society of the CITN, the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, had its tax week. It began the day before, on Wednesday, with a tax walk around the city of Abuja, aimed at sensitizing taxpayers. On the morning of Thursday, it was time for the finals of the quiz competition organized for tertiary institutions from Abuja and surrounding states. Later in the afternoon, intellectual food was fed to a highly appreciative audience, at which we had in attendance the Executive Chairman of the FRS, former Chairman FRS and Accountant General of the Federation, Chief J.K. Nayeju, the Minister of State for Labour and Productivity, Professor Stephen Ocheney, and a host of other prominent personalities. Papers were presented, including one from Mr. Olugbenro, who you saw earlier at the training workshop. The proceedings of the Abuja and District Society of the CITN Tax Week will come to you next week on this same program, same station, same day of the week, same time of the day. Have a blessed week ahead.